are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Welcome to our new show, Awaken Within with Cheryl Lynn.
Hi, everybody. And here we are again with Awaken Within with Cheryl Lynn. And my guest today is this awesome person.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Dr. Edwige Bing. And she wrote the book, You're Not Crazy, You're Awakening. And a lot of people think they're crazy when they are awakening, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many signs and symptoms and so many things going on. I mean, for me, oh my gosh, really, I thought at one moment that I was when light started showing up in the middle of the night and still points of light and things happening and beings coming in the room and touching me and hugging me and bringing me places. Yeah, for a moment I thought I was losing it.
Yeah, yeah. See, your awakening is not like everybody else's, though. Everybody has a different awakening.
That's so true, you know, and actually I was born with fourth dimensional consciousness.
Awesome.
And for me, I came forth knowing that I would be awake to awaken. That was the deal that I had coming forth, so that I would have these experiences and share them. So it's quite unique in that, but it's so real that I give, well, my stories are just amazing, and you really get an idea that this is really something that's happening, and it's a real event.
Yes, there are some amazing stories in here. I mean, I read your book, and then I read it again. It's just so amazing, and each time you read it, you get something new, something different. Just like my book, it's kind of like that
Absolutely,
too,
yeah.
Because it's on different dimensions, different levels of.
Well,
thinking.
and as you read, it opens something up for you,
That's
right?
what it is,
And then you go back and you're ready for something more to be added to it. And so they're little pieces to the puzzle. And as you continue to read and do the exercises and the practices, and then another piece is revealed to you, and then another piece. And so it's an ongoing thing, because awakening isn't just a one-time thing,
Right.
but it's a process of expansion.
Yes. Expansion is what we're all doing.
Indeed.
Expanding and evolving.
Yes.
And this is just, what's awesome about your book. I have to put my glasses on because I can't see close enough. But is you have different ways to show people how to expand. You've got techniques in here, which I really like.
Yeah, the thing is, when I started writing this book, I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be just a journal of experiences. And so, of course, my guides were saying that, no, it needs to be more like a self-help type book. So what I've done, you have my experiences, all the paranormal experiences of the visitations from terrestrial and celestial beings. But what exactly does it mean? What did they come forth to show me, to teach me? And so I share an experience, but then I relate the exercise, whether it be meditation or clearing your field or whatever it is, what
Right.
I learned from that experience, and then I share the exercise, the lesson with you.
That's what I find so fascinating because a lot of people don't know what to do, and that's what this book is really good. Mine is more just a journey of
Mhm.
what I did,
Mhm.
to become awakened. But yours, it helps people to learn how to be awakened.
Absolutely, step by step. Everything from when the when they start to communicate with you, what does that look like? And so we go through all the different ways that possibly they could communicate so that you start to become aware. So it really is about helping you to expand. It really is about taking you step by step, that if you just think you're awakening, okay, this is what the process may look like for you. These are the things to start to look for, and to really raise your consciousness, because it's about getting off of autopilot and
Right.
becoming consciously aware. And so how do we begin that process? And I take you step by step and really how to begin that process of, setting the intention and meditating and all sorts of different techniques.
Right. So what got you started, and why did you write the book?
And that's a good question, because being an author was never my endeavor, never anything I really wanted.
I
It
hear
wasn't
ya.
even a thought in my head, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But as this awakening, and you know what, let me even go back further. So, because when I was 12 years old, I started getting visitations from a
Wow.
divine being. And I'll never forget the first time I felt the presence of someone watching me, and I opened my eyes, and there was this tall being. Actually, he's associated with the Council of 12.
Oh,
Pretty
awesome.
amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And he visited with me for 6 years, taking me out, flying into the cosmos. I would land on a bridge and then dive into the depths of the ocean. And I
Wow.
would come to find later that I would be a bridge between heaven and earth. So that's the whole purpose of, me being here. So with that said, you know how you're on your path, you're doing your thing, and you're not really paying attention, and you don't really have this idea fully consciously aware yet that you are awakening, right? And so life just continued to be life. And I remember once I was about 25 when this being came back. And I said, what are you doing? Why are you here? And he said, checking your progress. And I said, really? I didn't know I was supposed to be progressing to anything,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
Right.
And so again, that event happened. And then in 2004, I was rear-ended at 120 miles an hour.
Dang.
And the wonderful thing about it is, as this event is happening, I go into this still, calm, white place. And I'm just hovering. My life's not flashing before me. And of course, now I know that my protection, my guides were with me, holding me so that I wouldn't have a cellular memory of a trauma. So there wasn't any.
Wow.
And so when the second or third impact, I don't know, I was back in the vehicle. I didn't even know we were in an accident, but I had injuries nonetheless. Shortly thereafter, about 2 weeks, angels came to me and said, we're ready. It's time for you to wake up and start to bring people into the light. And I said, really? Okay, I'm willing. And then before I knew it, every 10 days or so, they would show up, whether it be a galactic, dimensional being, a cosmic being, a terrestrial being, whatever. All of them showed up. And literally, every 10 days, something would happen, whether it be a still point of light coming into the room and turning on my pineal gland, or them touching me and bringing me to the Council of 12. But all sorts of things would happen. And so while this process was going on, I started going to workshops, because I'm like, well, there's something I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't know what it is. And so my husband, as patient as he is and just so
Yeah.
loving and supportive, said, don't worry, it's going to be revealed to you. And as I just, was okay with that energy, I found workshops to go to, and I was at one in Sedona. And someone walked up to me and said, are you writing yet? And I said, I don't write, so no, I wouldn't be. And they said, don't worry, you're going to. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you've got the wrong person. So 6 months or so later, I was someplace else here in Vegas, and someone walked up to me and said,
But I was told that I'm supposed to write 3 books, and I said I have one, but I just did do a new one, which I wanted to show you. It's called The Big We. We Are One Big Family, and this is a children's book.
oh, lovely.
Anyway, I found this. Oh, that's loud.
Yes, the mic is picking it up.
But here, you can look through it. So
Oh,
these
very
are, these
cute.
are just little pictures I did. Really kid-like stuff.
Uh-huh.
But it really resonates with children because I have 7 grandchildren now, and
Oh, wow.
they really,
Yeah.
they really like it.
Quite a horde of
You
kids.
know. But anyway, getting back to your book.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you. Okay, I have some questions now.
Okay.
So you met a lot of different people in different dimensions, or beings in different dimensions.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about maybe some of them?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so, goodness. Where do
There
I
was
begin?
a blue one.
Okay, yeah, there's so many. Okay,
Yeah.
so early on, when I didn't know about meditation, or I shouldn't say I didn't know because I've always known because my mom meditated when I was a little girl. I watched her meditate and knew that she would go away and come back an hour later smiling, and she had her meditation. And I even watched her ripple water once in a bowl of water with her mind.
Really?
So I knew it was powerful. And so early on in this awakening process, in one of these altered states, I'll share with you an altered state that I had that led to a visit by this being. I found myself in a room somewhere around 10 by 10, and this room was decorated in antiques, and it was just a pretty room. There wasn't a hallway to the next room. There was just another room, and that room was also decorated in or furnished in antiques. And then before I knew it, I found myself walking down this hallway, and down this hallway were these veils or sheets of fabric, sort of like chiffon and all earth and jewel tones. And they were billowing, I was walking under them, and they were all billowing, hitting me in the face as I'm walking past them, the veils being lifted. And when I got to the end of it, there was a Syrian, a woman from Sirius, tall being, standing there looking at me, and she said, "We are ready to teach you meditate." So that was one of the first lessons, learning how to meditate.
Meditate. Yes.
And, well, she was from Sirius. And then from there on, all sorts of beings. So the one that you mentioned, the blue one, she actually is from the 33rd dimension. She is blue, purple, and green, sort of like, and it's really hard to describe. She sort of glistens with all of these colors and movement. Her face is diamond shaped, and she's a healer. And so the first time I experienced her, I was doing energy work on someone because they activated, and I'll share with you the abilities that I have. But I was working on this woman, and her kidneys were failing. And energetically, because she's actually in South Carolina, and I'm here, and we were on the telephone. And so I am bringing in the energy, directly connected to Source, bringing in that life force energy. And as I'm directing that energy through her crown down into her body, then I also am guided to work on her chakras. And when I get to her solar plexus, all sorts of things open up and blocks are removed. And then I'm guided. I just hear what to do.
Right.
And so I'm guided to reach my hands in energetically to her kidney. And so I do. And I can feel it. And she's like, "Oh, I feel energy and massaging of my kidneys." I'm like, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And as this is going on, this being appeared to both myself and to her and continued to do the work on this woman. It was pretty phenomenal. And so that was my first experience with her. She has since come back when working on other people, when they have physical ailments. She shows up to deal with them. And so very, very interesting. She's absolutely beautiful, really, really tall.
Yeah, like 9-10 feet?
At least 9 feet, at
Yeah.
least 9 feet, very tall. But just powerful and such love, just amazing. And then I was actually visited for about 3 months by reptilians. Now, this was really, really interesting. Oh,
Yes.
my gosh.
Yeah,
and
tell us
so, and I didn't understand why they were coming to me till after it was all done. And so, okay, when I close my eyes, I see colors.
Right.
And so, again, before my light body moved into me, and all sorts of things have happened since and activated since. But in that time, when I was just really in this awakening process, I close my eyes and see colors. And then in the wee hours of the morning, 4 o'clock, I'm awake for the rest of the night, pulsing, vibrating, watching the colors. And
Yes.
whenever something was going to happen, the colors would start to move really fast. And the pulsing and vibrating would get really strong. And so I knew something was up. So this particular occasion, these beings shook my bed. And they shook it really aggressively. And I'm like, well, who are you and what's up?
Yeah.
And so they're showing me things. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? And I say, by the way, I want to see what you look like. And so as I'm looking at the colors, a circle appears about that big, void of color, void of movement, and it was a portal.
Oh, wow.
And so I opened my eyes and I looked in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see. And so I looked in and I saw these beings, their backs were to me. So they didn't even realize at that moment
Right.
that a portal had opened and I'm looking at them. And then one realized that the portal was open. And so he walked over to it and we were eye to eye like this.
Wow. Oh, that was... Ooh.
Yeah, he was blue,
Yeah.
about the color of my book, maybe
Oh.
that shade blue.
Okay.
No hair, textured skin like a lizard, big amber eyes,
Wow.
and very small flat ears to the head. And I just looked at him and I'm like, now here's my reasoning, right? I'm like, oh, you look like a reptilian.
Like a reptile?
Yes, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Again, I'm clueless back then, okay? And I'm like, wow, so why are you here? And aren't you all supposed to be bad? Right?
Right.
Not necessarily. It's so very
No.
interesting. There's good and bad in all.
Yes.
And so that was that. And then he actually showed me a prayer, which was really quite interesting, and a protection thing to do, which, again, was quite interesting. So then weeks had passed, and the next thing I know, they're back. This time, like a vice grip on my head, squeezing like you wouldn't believe. And I said, really, you've got to let up. This really hurts. And in front of me, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. Pictures flashed. I saw everything that was Mayan, everything that was Egyptian, everything that was the history, 4 billion years on this planet, quite honestly.
Okay.
I saw the history of everything.
Yeah.
They had come to get knowledge from me. I thought, oh, cool, they're giving me information. No, they had come to get knowledge from me, and I didn't even understand it at that time,
Right.
and would later come to know who I actually am and
Right.
why I would have this knowledge. But they were a dying race, and so I knew that they were no threat to me, or my higher self knew that they
Right.
were no threat to me, and so they came to get information to save their race. And then the final time they came, literally, I was laying in bed early in the morning, and the covers moved off of me. I levitated out of bed, and I found myself in a room as they did work. It was quite interesting, and that was the last visit from them. They had gotten the information that they needed, and I moved on. Other visitations, I've been, like I said, to the Council of 12, to angels coming in, just all sorts of beings.
Okay, what is Council of 12? Tell everybody.
Well,
People don't know that.
well, they're sort of like the overseers of the universe. They're the council. And quite interesting. To describe them, okay, I'll describe the experience.
Okay.
That's the best that I can do.
Yeah.
And so in the wee hours of the morning, yet again, I was touched on my arm, and I said yes. I just knew that it was come with us, right? And so I said yes, and before I knew it, I was in this golden white place, and it sort of was crystal everywhere.
Yeah, is it tunnels? Like tunnels?
I don't know necessarily tunnels, and I wasn't really even aware, but I saw that everything was crystal.
Crystal.
Everything was crystal, and everything was a golden white crystal. And so I'm standing there, and there's this long table. The table had to be at least 12 feet long, and it was in front of me lengthwise, this way. And I'm like, okay, a table, and it had a shine to it, so it was even crystal. And then these beings appeared, all facing me. And, there was one at the ends, and then they all were facing me.
All 12.
All 12.
Okay.
And they were all in white. They were, I guess, white gowns because they were seated. And I looked down and I was in a white gown. And I'm like, well, this is really interesting. And you really can't make out their faces. However, you can tell that they are all dimensional, galactic, cosmic God beings with extreme power, but deep love. And so I was standing there, and I'm like, yes. And they just wanted me to know that I was on point, doing my work, and that everything was in alignment for the next step. And I have since gone back with ease, actually, not having to be summoned, because you can't just go there on your own. You actually have to sort of have a welcome invitation there, which is really quite interesting. And so what has gone on because of this and because of the visitations with the reptilians, I actually was told that I hold the template. And when I was given this template, when they showed me that I had this template, I thought it was the template, and they called it of the Immaculate Conception, the Immaculate Concept, which is divine blueprint for man. However, it really is the Lumerian seed template. And when it was shown that I had it, 3 women on Earth have it, and that's it. And we were given it in Lumeria. While it was sinking, we had maintained purity, and it was so interesting because they took me to this place yet again, and with the 3 of us, and our right arms were all extended out, and a tattoo appeared
Just like
on
a
our
light,
arms.
a light tattoo.
Yes. And I'm like, well, this is really interesting. And they said, remember it and draw it later. You will know what it is. I'm like, okay. And so days later, I thought, oh, I better draw this out because I'll forget it.
Yeah.
And so I have crayons. Although I have no children, I have crayons. I like to color. No biggie. And so that's the child in me, right? And so I brought out the blues and the greens and brown colors, and I drew what looked like flowers, 2 flowers side by my wrist, with a stem leading up to my elbow with a head like wheat. And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's interesting. That looks like a woman's birth canal. Okay. That was the first thing that popped in my head. And then days later, my husband saw it because I left it on my desk, and he's like, well, what did you draw the woman's uterus and birth canal for? That's really odd. I'm like, I don't know. That's the tattoo. So about 6 months later, back then, I would get energy sessions with people. And so I was at this lady's home here in town, and she was doing all of this work. And when she was finished, she's like, oh, my goodness. And I'm like, yeah, what? She says, wow, the mothers came in. You hold within you this template. She said, there was nothing within you to clear. You came in with 4th dimensional consciousness. You came in with no karma. You had nothing here to clear. You've been perfect and pure. Oh, my gosh, and you hold this template. Well, I'm like, okay, that's cool. What do I do with it? She said, you'll know. And so after the light body descended into me and the ability to activate people and to turn things on and to clear and to heal, all of this got really strong. And then I was guided literally just in November when we were in California, and you took that amazing picture of me.
Yes. Oh my God.
Of me bilocating. I'll have to show.
Her and Karen, who's a shaman. I took this picture where we were all dancing, and then her and Karen, both half of their bodies were gone.
I'll show you. I have it on my phone
Yeah,
still.
it's an amazing picture.
And actually, there's 2 of me in the picture. There's the 3D me, and this is what the picture is. There's a 3D me, and then off in front of me, but they're sort of connected at the waist, but the top part is my light body. That's my future me. That's my light body. And we were becoming one. Well, this past Grand Cross, we integrated and became one. This is the process, folks, of ascension. Your future self, your light body, has to move into you, and you raise your vibration and frequency enough. And so at that time of this Grand Cross, the template that I hold, it's the Lumerian seed template, and it turned on, it activated. And with it, these beings that had been working with me all this time, there are 6 of them, they are now with me, sort of like integrated into me. And they deal with calibration and opening your 9th and 10th chakras. One is innocence, and these beings work, and session after session, things turn on, you start to pulse, you start to vibrate, things are awakening. I mean, I've had people levitate in sessions.
Wow. I want a session.
They are amazing. I did a session with this gentleman yesterday,
Yeah.
literally, and this gold animal, solid gold animal, walked in front of him, bringing prosperity.
Awesome.
And all sorts of things clicked and turned on, and it was just amazing. And our energy melded, and then they came in and they worked, and he went into the void. It was just amazing,
Wow.
amazing. And so that's sole purpose is to move us into the golden age, because I hold the template for the divine blueprint of
That's
the being.
I
Um,
so know that.
Yeah.
Because you are so she's amazing. Just everything that comes out of her mouth that she's done. She's a doctor. I mean,
Well, and that
doing this-
was another part. You know, it's so interesting, this process. And it takes steps, and you don't have to race to get through it or,
Mhm.
you know, or anything like that. You just listen to the guidance.
right.
And I'm always
intuition.
aware of what's going on. And
Mhm.
so I was having a conversation with someone, and they talked about the University of Metaphysics. And I thought, it struck something up in me. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I need to go. And so my guidance said yes. And they showed me what to take. And as I am doing the work, I said, okay, it's time now to write my thesis. And they showed me what to write my thesis on. And I wrote my thesis. It's called, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And I wrote my thesis on the subconscious and how the subconscious works and how
Yes.
you have to get off autopilot if you want to awaken. And so I created a whole program around the subconscious and becoming conscious. And so that's what I wrote that on. And
Uh-huh.
then
That's awesome.
when it was time to do my dissertation for my doctorate, I'm like, okay, now what? And so they said, you're going to write it on religion, because all religions are in the same house,
Yes.
just different rooms.
yes. I like
And
that.
if we are to break free, we have to step outside those rooms,
Mhm.
right? And allow the truth, regardless of what the truth is. And it doesn't matter whose religion, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. The truth is the truth. And we, as these divine spiritual beings, have to just wake up and allow ourselves to take in whatever that truth is.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I've been visited by Yeshua, if you want to call him Yeshua, if you want to call him Jesus, if you want to call
Uh-huh.
him Ishu, if you want to call him whatever name, Horus, whatever name they have for
Right.
him. The name doesn't matter, and he really doesn't care,
Yeah.
to be quite honest.
I know. I know. I know.
It's just the energy that's amazing, and just this loving energy.
And that's what it's all about. Is the energy.
It's the energy, and it really is that to transform and to really raise your vibration
Mhm.
and then raise your frequency is to get into the heart space, which the Lemurians mastered. It's living and breathing from heart consciousness.
Right.
And that's what it's about.
Get out of your head.
Get out of your head,
Yeah.
move into your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's not easy, because
Ugh.
when we say move into your heart, I mean, then I don't care what color, what creed, what sexual orientation. I
Right.
don't care about any of that about you, because the truth of who you are is a divine being. So no war, no nothing, none of that matters.
Right.
And you have to truly not just believe it, but know it to the depths of your being.
Exactly. I mean, we are one. You
We
know,
are.
because
We're in the ocean of oneness, expressing as
Edwige. And
exactly,
Cheryl,
and
right.
Charlene. That's
Carol and Kelsey.
it. Absolutely. And that's what we really have to incorporate
Yeah.
into our daily existence. It has to become who we are.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
And you know, we have to reprogram. We have to reprogram
Well, yeah,
ourselves. So that's
absolutely. That's a big thing with, you know, the work that I do as this doctor, right, in metaphysics. It's really about reprogramming your subconscious. When things aren't going the way you want, it's because you've created it. And so wherever you are in this moment, it's okay, it's perfect, because you created it to this point. And so it's
Right.
about being thankful. Okay, you are masterful. And if it's the bigger the hole, the deeper it is, wonderful, that's okay, because we can get you out of it, and we can transform you, and we can transmute these things once we discover what these things are, right? And get them out of the subconscious. And as we purge and transmute, then we can build new seeds, new foundation, new programs of abundance, of love, of joy, of peace, of your God-given rights. And that's what it's about. But the wonderful thing about this really is, as these star seeds that we are, how did we really planned this, because this is how we evolve the species of man, by coming forth, by taking on lack, limitation, fear, guilt, shame, doubt, poverty, by taking these things on and mastering these things and forgetting that we're divine beings, and then at the allotted time remembering we're divine beings. That's right. And these things I just had to master, because this is how I expanded through the contrast. And now I can remember that I'm a divine being, and I can let go of the contrast, right? Because it served me well. And now I can take on my armor of I am a divine being. And when you do that, and you start to then reseed with prosperity, love, joy, peace, harmony, balance, wow, now you're that divine being. And now you've shifted. And in that shift, life is pretty amazing.
And you have awakened.
You have awakened.
And then you ascend and you evolve.
Absolutely.
This is what a workshop that I like to do is the Awaken, Ascension, Evolution. And I did it, The Spirit Within You.
Oh, lovely.
Which is Karen, a good friend of ours.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing them in different places now. But you do a workshop also.
I do workshops, and actually, I've been really, really busy.
I know.
Aside from the book, I have 3 websites. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you want to tell us what they are?
So the first website is really simple, Dr. Edwige, DREDWIGE.com. And that's sort of like a hub. So if you go there, you're going to find, I have an internet radio show, so you'll find that. You'll find access to the book and CDs, guided meditations, and different things. But then I have another website, affirmationsforliving.net.
I like that one too.
And I have a program that I just created. It's just coming on board there. And it is raising your consciousness. And so there are audio files, there's a book, there's PDF, there's guided meditation, all of that in this package. And you listen to the audios and you do the exercises, and it will move you through the stages of consciousness. It really starts to get you to understand what consciousness is and to get you unstuck and off of autopilot. That's the main thing about that one, is get you off of autopilot. And then the big one that I just launched is a 12-month program.
Really?
It's really, really in-depth. And it's a light body mentorship.
Oh,
so for those who really want to get this awakening and receiving of their light body and preparing themselves, literally it's a 12-month program. There are 3 lessons per month. They're in-depth, somewhere between 10 and 15 pages each lesson, with exercises. And with that, we do 2 question and answer sessions every month. So you have me hands-on as you go through it to ask questions. And that's really, really in-depth. And you can find that at lightbodymentor.com.
Say that again?
lightbodymentor.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Check that out. Now, a year, you think that would help everybody awaken and it will raise the vibration of the planet?
That's the idea.
That's the idea.
That's the absolute idea. Because if you do the practices, yes, it will absolutely raise your vibration. Because each lesson builds on the next lesson. And so it's about understanding really the levels of consciousness, the steps of consciousness, and evaluating where you are so you know where you need to move next. So that's early on. How to get off autopilot, how to meditate, how to use visioning. Then we talk about the power of words. And so the power of words are so important, because negative words like no, that word brings down your vibration. And so simply by saying it, it lowers your frequency.
Really?
And heavy words like no and can't, because they're low vibration, they bring down your frequency. And because they're low, they're slow. And so if you find yourself in a funk, you find yourself depressed, it's because you're using some of these words and you can't seem to get out of it because these words linger because they're so low in density. So we teach you how to use positive words. Positive words certainly is a positive word, right? Certainly I can do that. If I put my efforts into it, certainly I can. And so positive words raise your frequency, raise your vibration. But the issue with positive words, because they're high vibrational, they're fleeting. And so they come and go like that. And so you have to constantly be using these words to keep your vibration up. And so I give you a list of words that are negative that you need to get out of your vocabulary, and I give you a list of words that are positive that I want you to do one word every day and use that word in sentences throughout the day for 24 hours so that we really start to train you in what sounds positive and how to cancel out negative thoughts. So there's everything in that.
And then you start putting little grooves in your mind that make new pathways and you have a new pattern of life.
Exactly. And that's the key. That's how you reprogram yourself, and that's how you pattern yourself for success. And then we even go into exercises for the actual light body, which is later on in like lessons 27, 28. We really get into starting to work with frequency. Once we've cleared you and turned things on, then we really get into the nuts and bolts of that work.
Yeah, and that gets even deeper in there in that subconscious. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, so the true reason why we're doing this all is to raise the frequency of Mother Earth, right?
Well, yes, not only Mother Earth, but the people. Because Mother Earth really, her vibration has raised quite a bit. The people, not enough people just yet have raised their vibration enough. And so it really is, Mother Earth is waiting for us to get it. And so we're here to help more people get it. And we can't force. You see, you have to come to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm available. You have to find me. You have to make that step. Just like you, Sherlyn. Right? It's free will. And so I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. It's free will.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm here.
Okay. Well, and then I think first you got to start with the book. You're Not Crazy, You're Awakening, because this book, opens you up, and as you say, every time you read it, it opens you up a little more, and then go to your classes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, go to the book, and then if you want, you can start with the Raising Your Consciousness, because that's going to take you a next step, and then when you're really ready to dedicate yourself, because this is serious work. Awakening is not for the meek of heart.
Right.
Then you take the 12-month program, because it's detailed. And it's a commitment on your part.
Now, how can we get this book?
Well, it's available on Amazon. It's available in Barnes & Noble. You can go to my site, dredvige.com, and purchase it. It's also available on Kindle. So it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Awesome.
Yay.
It's universal.
Yes.
Probably.
And it's even, I've had people all the way from Scotland get the book and read it, and it transformed their lives. So, it's pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Pretty amazing.
I love it. So, okay, I want to bring out what I do. Is use these oils with the what do you call this vessel here, and you put the oils in it, and
I like the color.
Isn't that a great color? And it will. You add crystals to it, and crystals are what change your vibration. Help change your vibration.
Well, and I have a chapter on crystals.
I know you do. That's why I was
Yes.
going to talk about it. Because in your chapter, you talk about grounding, too.
Yes.
And that's another important thing.
Oh, my goodness. So early on, when we are awakening and your team comes in, you'll find yourself, at least for me, I would find myself leaving my body at any given time. When I'm home, it's okay because I'm guided to go lay down, and literally I will leave and go into a void as they're working on my body, preparing me, quite honestly, for ascension. And if I'm somewhere teaching or speaking, I also find myself leaving because my higher self will come in and start to do activations right over the call, right through my voice for frequencies come out.
Uh-huh.
And so I tend to carry red jasper with me,
Oh.
especially early on, because it's a wonderful grounding tool.
This is what I got for you, some crystals in there.
Uh-huh.
Check those out.
Thank you.
I brought you. They have some red jasper,
Yes, absolutely.
tiger's eye.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all really good grounding crystals. And that's garnet and
Wonderful.
amethyst.
Thank you.
And turquoise in there too.
Oh, yes.
Would you like
Matches
that? You can
my
make
blouse.
a necklace, yeah.
Yeah, matches my blouse
Make
perfectly.
a necklace out of that, or
Lovely.
bracelet, anything.
Mhm.
Those are gem
Thank you.
quality. And now this I brought for Carol.
Yay.
Because she's doing some. She's going to be my guinea pig. We were going to call.
We all need subject. No, we don't. No, we
Subject
don't.
matter. My subject matter is what I was calling her. 'Cause
Volunteer.
Yeah. On doing raising your vibration by just smelling the oil. Whenever you get angry, you're going to take a whiff of the oil.
Mm-hmm.
I made this crystal rose oil with frankincense myrrh in it.
Oh, lovely.
And you put crystals in the little vial here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you just smell it, it hits the olfactory,
Mm-hmm.
and just helps change your mood.
Oh, lovely.
And so this is like a new
Modality. Mhm.
modality. That's
Mhm.
good. Yeah, that I'm testing out that will help raise people's frequency a little faster.
Mhm.
Along with the words, and they have to do the 7-day mental diet, which is another thing I created,
Oh, lovely.
which would really work with your program
Mhm.
too.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, and here's the thing. For me, with the beings coming in and doing everything, the frequency went up so quickly.
yeah,
But again, like you said earlier, I'm the exception.
you are.
And so I get that. And so these things are wonderful tools for us to use that can really help, because this is the time. This is the time that we've been waiting for 26,000 years.
Yes.
And this is it, folks. The old time is money matrix ended 2012.
Yes.
The new timeline begins at the end of 2015. And so this is the window that we're in, and this is it.
This is
and
it.
so you have to get it. And for those who just know that something's going on, you get it. And so these things are here to help you so that you can let go. Because as we get closer to the 2015, the window narrows and you can't take baggage with you. And so we have to let go. That's what this purging is all about, and why you people are leaving jobs, leaving spouses, doing all of these different things. It's because what no longer serves your best and highest good, you got to let go of. That's
Right.
just the way it is. You can't bring it with you because those things are lower in vibration, pulling you down.
Yeah.
And so any modality, anything that you can use that's going to give you the edge, I would implore you to do it, because time is of the essence.
It is. 2015.
And if you don't get it, by the way, then guess what? You get to continue the next 26,000-year cycle in 3D. That's not an option.
Oh, I don't want to be there.
I'm just saying.
No, thank you.
But I've already been shown the new Earth,
Yeah? Oh,
the
tell
golden
us about it.
age.
Tell us about it. a little bit.
And so, it's wonderful for me to know that this is it as far as 3D incarnations. This is the last one. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank
Amen.
you. That's how it is. It's just beautiful. It's just alive. And you can't even imagine. I mean, the colors we think are vibrant, they are nothing.
I've seen
And
them.
everything
I
is
know.
glistening. It's so interesting. There's almost like a glitter effect to it,
Yeah.
where everything has this life and it resonates and it vibrates this
And our
energy.
bodies are different,
And
too,
our
right?
bodies are different. Oh, goodness gracious. When we walk on the grass over there, wow, it's really quite interesting. And you can just feel the energy just
Yeah.
moving through you.
Everything's alive.
Everything's alive.
Everything's
And you really see that everything's alive. From
Yeah.
every plant, every animal, you can really see
tree.
that it's alive. And it's just pulsing with this glittery energy. And I say
Love
glittery
energy,
because
yeah.
it's just vibrant, and it has like specks of this golden energy in
Oh,
it.
I see that. I see that
yeah.
here, too.
Well,
mean,
yeah,
could,
I
you know,
see it here,
you
too.
see it? Yeah.
Yes, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't going to go there.
Yeah.
And actually, see it here, if you look at the trees, oh my gosh, you see the golden energy glistening off the trees.
I
I'm
do.
Like,
Like the aura is like 6 feet
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
see that
spikes of energy going around the trees. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And now I see everything pixelated. So that's really interesting. The
What does
walls
that
are no
mean?
longer, well, remember the old-fashioned...
Undulating. Kind
Yes,
of,
the
yeah.
old-fashioned television when you saw snow in the TV, right? I call that pixelation. Isn't that what it is? And so now that's how I see the walls. That's how I see things.
Yeah.
Because we are moving through the false illusion of it being 3D and solid.
Yeah.
So as we again integrate my higher self and all this integration going on, the illusion of it being solid is breaking down.
What about the vibration in your ear? Do you hear the high pitch all the time?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, it drives me nuts.
You know what though?
I try to just-
I'm so used to everything, and again, coming in as I know I came in with this purpose, and that I've been aware for so very long, that none of those things really bother me. I think most people wouldn't be able to deal with what I've gone through with
Yeah.
them touching me and still points of light coming in.
And the
Oh my
fear.
gosh. And the fear of transmuting fear
Yeah.
to the point of finally becoming an untouchable. It was really interesting and difficult. Even the pain of it, because wow.
You had to get into the pain. Right?
When I remember this one particular occasion, the 6 beings that worked with me, they surrounded me in the middle of the, night, wee hours of the morning.
Right.
And I saw as they came in, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And literally, they plugged something into me, and I jumped because it was like volts
Oh
of
my gosh.
electricity rushing through my body. And I'm like, ah! Literally screaming. I'm like, okay. And then they'd leave, and then the hour on, they'd come back. I said, oh, is this going to happen all night?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? So I'm not sleeping tonight, right? And literally every hour on the hour, all night, they came in plugging, preparing my physical body. And so
Is it like orgasms or what?
I should be so lucky. No, that's what I have a husband for. No, that was...
Energy orgasms.
Well, but they were surges of energy. And what they was preparing me for was literally my light body. And my light body, when that descended and I watched that moving in, it was that same energy. And it was really, 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 really strong as it moved in. So, yeah, it's
It
not
really
an
is
easy
different.
thing.
But then I read where you got struck by lightning. It was like lightning went through
Oh,
your
yeah.
heart, right?
That was early on. And I know we are wrapping up, so let me just say that real.
Okay.
So that one, again, knowing that the heart is so important and that your heart has to be pure and you have to really embrace this idea of love. And so in the middle of the night, this still point of white light, like a lightning bolt, came in through the roof of my bedroom into my heart and adjusted my heart. The next day when I woke up, my chest was sore. And I'm like, oh my God, I realized, yeah, that's right. They purged and purified my heart. It's that important.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Edwige.
Thank you.
I loved it. It
What a
went so
pleasure.
fast, didn't it? It went by so fast. Every time you learn new information, there it goes.
There it
But
goes.
we got to talk again because there's so much more to learn. and
Absolutely.
do this again.
Thank
But,
you.
So make sure you listen to us next time because we're going to have more interesting people. But remember to check our website out, SherilynBridgetAvalon.com. And don't forget VegasIndoorSkydiving.com where you could come and fly. And be,
We like to fly.
Yeah, be a free spirit. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Not just limited